I am undergoing displacement. This is locomotion. But if I wave my hands like this, I am not going anywhere. Just a part of my body is moving. This is called movement. This is in response to the presence or absence of certain chemicals in the environment. So, gymnosperms can also be classified into four subclasses. Coniferophyta, the coniferous plants that we see in the mountain regions. The cycadophyta.
Thank you for watching this video.
Hello students, welcome back to B2S Academy classes. We were studying classification of living things. In the earlier classes, we had covered the topics of Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista and Kingdom Fungi. Today, we will look into the Kingdom Plantae or the group of plants. Now, all kinds of plants that we see around us are composed of many cells, that is, they all are multicellular. They are mostly green since they have chloroplast in their cells containing the pigment chlorophyll, and which also contains quantosomes that helps in the process of photosynthesis. Another thing we observe in plants that they do not show the phenomenon of locomotion. That is, you will never see a tree or a small shrub or a herb in your garden or anywhere walking, running, jumping like a dog or a cat. You will never see that. But plants show movement. We term it as trophic movements. Plants also, in other than the process of photosynthesis, plants also undergo the process of respiration, just like humans do or any other organisms do. Also, since they all are eukaryotic organisms, plants have a cellulosic cell wall around their cells. So let us jot down some of the common features present in all plants. Firstly, they are multicellular. They are eukaryotes. They have cellulosic cell wall. They also produce their own food, that is, they are photoautotrophs. They produce their own foods, that is why they are autotrophs, and they produce their own foods by photosynthesis, that is why they are photoautotrophs. And they show movements, but no locomotion is observed. Now, let us look into the type of movements that a plant can undergo. Movement in plants or in any organisms is based on the response to external or internal stimuli. For example, if we are walking on the road and suddenly rain comes, we will run under a shelter because rain makes us clothes wet and produces a lot of discomfort. So we run into a shelter to avoid getting wet by the rain. So rain is an external stimulus triggering some kind of movement in our body. If strong light falls on your eyes, then also you will blink your eyes, you will close your eyes. Light, an external stimuli, causing some movement in your body. What are internal stimuli? You feel hungry, you feel thirsty. When you feel hungry, you go to the kitchen or you open your fridge to grab some food. When you are thirsty, you take a bottle of water and drink some of it. So, any kind of movement is based on the response against an external stimuli or internal stimuli. Locomotion is a type of movement which involves displacement of a body from one point to another. Like I'm walking across this room, so my whole body is moving from point A to point B. I am undergoing displacement. This is locomotion. But if I wave my hands like this, I am not going anywhere. Just a part of my body is moving. This is called movement. So in plants, locomotion is absent, but movement is there. What kind of movement? One is response to light. It is called phototrophic movement. You will seldom see that when the plants are growing in a shade and if there is sunlight nearby, the plant will bend towards that sunlight or will extend its branches towards that sunlight. This is called phototrophic movement. Sunflowers demonstrate phototrophic movement. As the sun moves across the sky as the day progresses, the sunflower also rotates their floral parts according to the movement of the sunlight across the horizon. Okay. Another is geotropic movement. That is movement with against the response of gravity. Geotropic movement. Movement in response to gravity. This can be of two types. One is positive geotropic and one is negative geotropic. Positive geotropic movement is the movement of roots towards the center of the earth. So shown by the roots. As the roots grow downwards. But the shoot, the stem, the leaves, the branches, they all grow up against gravity or away from the center of the earth. So the stem shows negative geographic movement. Another is response to touch, the nastic movements. Plants like touch me not, if you touch their leaves will wither. So this is thigmonastic movements, response to touch or any pressure. Right? And one is chemotactic movements. Chemotactic movements. This is in response to the presence or absence of certain chemicals in the environment. There is a phenomenon where certain plants inhibit the growth of other plants in its periphery, right? Because they secrete some chemicals from their roots which prevents plants in its vicinity to grow. Other plants of other species in its vicinity to grow. This is an example of chemotactic. Okay. So in response to chemical signals. And this thing that I just explained, that Some plants secrete some unwanted chemicals in its surroundings that prevent the growth of other plants belonging to other species in its vicinity. Is called allotropism. Okay, it is called allotropism. So this is the kind of movements that the plants exhibit. These are the common features under this kingdom. Now plants can be classified under the following groups. What are those? Let's look into it. Plants broadly can be classified whether they have visible floral parts or conspicuous or hidden floral parts, right? Plants having visible floral parts are known as phanerogams, and plants with floral parts that are not displayed are called cryptogams. Cryptogams can be further classified into thallophyta, into bryophyta, into pteridophyta, and phanerogams can be classified into angiosperms and gymnosperms. Angiosperms can be classified into monocots and dicots. So this is the scheme of classification. Also, gymnosperms can also be classified into four subclasses. Coniferophyta, the coniferous plants that we see in the mountain regions, the cycadophyta, the cycas and the pine trees, not the pine trees, the cycas trees, ginkgophyta and gnatophyta. Now these includes the pine trees, the deodar trees, the rosewood trees, etc. Right? So this is the classification of plants. Now, if we go a little deeper under thallophyta, we will observe that since thallophytans coming under the group of cryptogams, they do not show any floral parts. You will not see flowers. Thallophytes include all the algae, all the kinds of algae you see. Now, what are the some features of algae? Algae generally are multicellular, eukaryotic, and photoautotrophic like all plants. They do not have, they do not have, they do not have roots, stems, or leaves. What they have is an undifferentiated plant body called thallus. The undifferentiated plant body or thallus. And they reproduce by the help of spores, right? And Spore formation, since we have seen in the kingdom fungi, it is asexual. They can reproduce sexually, asexually, and vegetatively. So vegetatively, what they can do by fragmentation of the thallus. Fragmentation of thallus. Right. Next, what they can do sexually by the formation of unicellular gametes. Now, it can be of three types. One is isogamous, that is, both the male and female gametes are morphologically similar in size, in everything, in shape, they are similar. One is anisogamous. In anisogamous, the mega gamete, the larger gamete is the female, the microgamete is the male. And oogamous. In oogamous, the female reproductive cell is non-flagellated, non-motile, and stores food, and it is larger, while the male reproductive cells are flagellated, they are motile, and they do not store food, and they are smaller than the female reproductive cells. And asexually, by the formation of spores. Right? There are many kinds of spores. There are zoospores mainly. There are carpospores. Right? So this is how algae reproduces. And there are three types of algae that we can find.